Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. My name's Kino and welcome back to Calapolis. We're down here in the ancient city that I have just finished reclaiming and rebuilding. I spent the first episode of this three-part series reclaiming it back from the skulk. We cleared all the skulk sensors, all the skulk shriekers, and we made sure the warden was no longer a problem here. If you didn't see that episode, do hit the link above now or follow the link at the end and you can catch that episode and you can see just how much fun we had doing that. Now for today, I wanted to show you the end product of what we got here and go through the plans I've got for the ancient city. To give you a quick sneak peek, this is how the ancient city looks today. And it looks amazing. But I'm not going to show you that just yet. Do stick around to the end. I will give you a tour and show you exactly what we've done and all the fantastic builds. But for now we're going to start off and we're going to talk about these towers. Because these towers form the entrance to the ancient city. And if we swing back over here, you can see how this opening forms the walkway. And all these big pillars feel very, very regal. So we had to rebuild them first. And that's where we'll start.
So there are 10 of these towers, and I wanted to keep them all the same, looking uniform and spectacular. The reason I cut this middle section out here is not to get this sculpt, which I do need, because I'm going to need a lot of it later, but it's actually to hide some lights behind these non-opaque blocks. Now, because a stair is a partial block, we can hide lights behind it, and it still emit the same light level, and even though you won't see it. And I think this looks great, because although I love the blue lights, the soul lights, they don't give enough light to actually stop mobs spawning and for us to be able to see. So I hide these everywhere. So I rebuild these layer by layer and hide the torches behind everywhere I can get a non-full block. So in this case, it's a stair block, but we also use slabs. And then when we get to the top, I finish it off just with these soul fires at the top, which look great, but don't let off a lot of light. And once rebuilt, they went from looking something old and beaten up like this to something amazing like this. So the next thing we turned our attention to was these monuments, and they're everywhere, and they have been properly taken over by the skulk. There's skulk sensors and skulk shriekers all over them, and they've really been left and neglected. So we had to clear all the skulk away, just so we can get an idea of what they actually look like. So then we start putting the floors back on, and then ultimately we can then move on and start making them look pretty. Now, when I started building these, I didn't use any plans. I just kind of cleared the area, saw what I had to start with, kind of like a blank canvas, and then just kind of went with it. I kind of tried lots of ideas, trial and error, breaking blocks and moving blocks, and kind of sort of experimented until I got something I wanted. I was trying to go for something clean and fresh, something that the villagers would use as a place of worship, maybe even a place of sacrifice. I wanted it to look kind of nice and looked after, and I wanted them all to look the same. And that's kind of how I went from something that looks a bit like this, which is all sort of taken over, to something looking amazing and clean and fresh like this. The next areas we had to look at were the walkways, and these are all over the place. This is the largest section, largest building part that we had to kind of take on. So the first thing I did was look around the walkways, clear off all the skulk and reclaim them, and then kind of get an understanding on how they're designed. I wanted to keep the same design all the way through. So this meant going around and just sort of knocking down blocks here and there and rebuilding it back to kind of, I suppose, what is original spec, but at the same time what to be the new spec. Once I knocked out all of these blocks, it then gave me the opportunity to hide the lighting inside and light up the whole area. And I'll show you exactly how I've done that later. Now I wanted to keep the original idea as close as possible. And with the wall being a sound dampener, I decided it was there for a reason. Obviously to stop them summoning the warden. So I kept the wall going all the way through. And that's how we kind of went from this kind of beaten up wall here to this nice fresh looking wall all the way round the ancient city. What I wanted to do then was to border it. Now originally I toyed with the idea of keeping the kind of deep slate down here with something chiselled out. But I also like the contrast that the sculpt gave, making it look like an ocean floor, making it look like somewhere where you shouldn't be standing. Now I know the villagers will jump all over this, but it does kind of frame the build really well. So I knocked out all the floor, and I went through for hours and hours and hours, and I had to go hunting for sculpt, because believe it or not, I did actually run out. And I just kind of replaced this floor. And I think the end product of what this kind of looks like looks really good, because it makes it still look sinister. And it kind of gives us this frame like this section here, which looks brilliant. The last thing I had to turn my attention to was the main portal in the centre. First of all, you've got the outer wall. The outer wall is quite good because it's quite well designed. And I'll just show you here, this is the first place where I show you how I kind of hid my light source. And what we've done there is we've hidden it under stair blocks. Now you can't see it from the outside here, but that does emit a light level 15. And we've got them everywhere just so that I can kind of see. And here we've done it again, and we do it in each of the sections going round every sort of couple of meters. Like I say, and that makes it easier for me to see. Plus it stops the mobs spawning later. And we build this outside wall, and it's the same design all the way round. I then decided that I was going to fill up on lava and go around the entire inner lake section, if you like, and that this was now going to be lava. I don't really know why I've done this, but I like the light it gave out, and I like the idea that this kind of frames the inner section as being something to defend. Then there was the portal itself. And this portal needed to be spectacular. I needed to kind of make it uniform, make it something that looks impressive from all sides. I toyed with the idea of making the portal itself in the middle something that looks amazing by placing possibly some stained glass in there, maybe even a nether portal itself. But I decided that if this is going to be a portal later in the game, which I think has been confirmed, then I should just sort of leave it alone for now, keep it as it was, so that my villagers can use it possibly later as a place of worship. And now is time for the reveal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rebuilt ancient city. Now this is the entrance as we come through, and we're going straight down the main walkway, which is spectacular. These are the pillars either side. There's, like I said, there's 10 of them, and they look amazing, especially when you see the blue soul fires on the top. And this has all been completely rebuilt with hidden lights everywhere, so it's really bright, and you can see that now. The center section has come out really good, and once this is a portal, this is going to look fantastic. We'll just take a quick pano and have a quick look round. You can see that every section in here now looks clean and fresh. If we start back over here at the beginning, I can show you these sections here which I have left empty on purpose. Now these were monuments that were completely reclaimed by the Skulk. I didn't really have a lot to go on, so I've decided that I'm going to possibly utilise them later with my own builds. And if we wander along the walkways, we can just see how big these sort of areas are. Now, one of the things I want to show you is this wooden section here, because there are 3 of these around the place. I've kind of kept them, because although they're not in the original design, it kind of feels like the villagers have built them themselves. And that's the kind of thing I think the villagers would do. If we look at one of these monuments over here, this is slightly different to the one we saw earlier. But again, it just shows that I didn't really have a lot to go on, so I kind of winged it. But I think they've come out pretty good. I wanted to go for that idea that they're clean and they're looked after, and this is a place of respect and worship. And that's how I think these have all come out, especially with the basalt floor that we've used. Now these walkways are really, really vast. The ancient city goes 200 blocks in every direction, so it's kind of a massive build that had to look uniform all the way through. I didn't want anything standing out and looking a bit odd. But now that we've got the basalt floor and all the monuments have been redone and all of them kind of a bit uniform, very similar to the next one, it looks amazing down here. But we have left lots of spaces open, like these that we can see on the floor here, that give us the opportunity to redesign and add little bits ourselves and put our own little touch onto it. And I have now finished this. And if you join me in episode 3 out of the 3, the last one, I can't wait to show you exactly what it looks like now. Especially now I've got the villagers down here and it's a hustling and bustling life. Now I want to show you these light sources because as you can see, this block in the middle here is lit up. And that's how we're lighting up this ancient city. If I just break these blocks, that's it. And I can show you that I've got torches hidden behind them. Now it's not every one, because if we look in this section, there's none here. But this one here, you can clearly see the light and that's hidden behind it. Now that emits a light level 15, which makes it so that we can see. And we can see now without any night vision. And these blue soul lanterns aren't going to be lighting up the area as much. We've also hidden them underneath these slabs here, and there's the light there, and that kind of emits it. And we've got them hidden everywhere. If I show you on the wall here, we've even got them hidden behind these stairs. And we've got these everywhere. And that's what gives off this light, bright kind of feeling down here. Now, if I showed you on the bottom of the pillar, I'll show you again up here, behind one of these stair blocks. That's it. We've got hidden behind here as well. And that's why these pillars are so light. And the whole area is like this. And I've put these lights absolutely everywhere. Now that you know they're there, you can see which blocks have got the light behind them just by walking over here. You can see it's pretty much every other one. I've also put them in the walkways themselves because the walkways themselves were kind of a bit dark and dingy. And underneath these slabs, because they're not a full block, they do let the light through. I've just hidden them along the floor there. And at the top, I've just hid them underneath these little steps here, which is why I've got this kind of bench design. Now the soul lights don't give off a lot of light, so we did have to place them absolutely everywhere. But the amazing ancient city now looks bright, light, and livable, and safe. And this portal in the middle looks spectacular. I really like how the lava's come off, kind of gives it that feel that it's a castle with a moat around it and something definitely to be protected. But this is kind of how we want it to finish, and this has taken a lot of work, guys. And I'm amazed and really proud of what we've done. Now, as I say, this is now finished, and I can't wait to show you guys the final product with all the villagers in it, the villager builds. We've even got a working marketplace and lots of other amazing things to show you. So if you're intrigued, please do follow, hit that subscribe button now, and hit the bell notification so you will be informed when the final episode is out. Please do share it with your friends as well. And if you've liked anything you've seen, please do drop a comment down below. Now build like no one's watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.